Welcome Retro Scale Modelling. This is part 6 of AFV Club's Churchill Mark IV. Scale is 1 to 35. In this video I'm going to be starting where I left off and finishing up starting to build the turret. So let's jump into this and see how well I get on. So carrying on where I left off, I'm placing on the track armament and skirts. Now, because I made them all in one go, that was an easy enough fit. I just had to hold it down for a few minutes, about 3 minutes until it's set. There's two boxes that go on the side, and there's an option here whether to have the top section as an open grill. And so this is what I'm building here. Also, you can see it's a 4H part. So first of all, the metal support's going. And then once the middle section is dry, it's just a simple case of taking my tweezers and shaping the end piece, which is just one fold. And then making up the box itself. This one is a little bit of a strange shape because it fits to the contours of the side of the tank. So you might want to look at the instructions carefully before you start building it, because it's easily, you can easily get it wrong. I did have to cut off a few injection pins on these pieces as well, so you may want to keep an eye out for that. There was two to make up. As I said, it was a bit tricky because of the shape of the box itself. The bottom and side panels only fit one way. The instructions are not really exactly clear which way they should go as well, so a little bit of dry fitting is required here. But once the main build is completed, the last part to go on is the 4H, and that goes right at the top. And that should be facing open if you look at it from a plan view. The next section I'm putting on is an optional part. It's a wishbone type bracket with a main beam running into the tank. Now I had difficulty getting this all to line up, and I placed them on. But in the end, I didn't like the look of them, so I took them off. But in the meantime, they're going to be in situ. So that I'm just trying to get them lined up, but I just couldn't quite do it. I don't know why, it just didn't seem to line up properly. So it was probably my fault. But anyway, I moved on back to the boxes once they were dry and placed them on to the side walls of the tank. And these were a really good fit. They just pushed into the location run area without any difficulty. Next, there's 4 cable pipe things that go in between the exhaust manifold. They actually lie within the contours of the hatch. Each one should follow the hatch and wrap itself around the corner. Next, there's a set of 4 containers. I think they might be fuel containers, I'm not sure. But each set sits in its own little housing, so it's 2 per set. It's a simple enough build. It should all line up quite easily. There is some 4H to put on as well, but these are just for brackets to hold it onto the tank skirt itself. And like with all the 4H, I just attached it either with a little white glue or super glue. This one I used super glue. I didn't bend them at this stage. I waited until they were on the box themselves before bending it. This just gave me the correct angle because I wasn't exactly sure where these would bend to fit onto the tank. Now I turn my attention to the turret, and first of all I'm making up the main gun. Now this is the Mark IV version. It's the engineering version. Now, I've just found out that I'm building it as well. So there's not one big barrel. This is only the little howitzer gun. The section I'm building up here is mostly going to be contained inside the turret. So if you're having the turret closed, you don't necessarily have to build this up completely like I'm doing. I'm having mine closed, but again, just to show you how it's built. Once the 2 main halves are placed together, I then have to put on a series of a couple of little levers and handles. There are location points for these, but unfortunately the instructions are not really that clear where they go. I had to feel my way around it as such to make sure I was happy with the position. But saying that, because I wasn't really shown them once they were built, I didn't put too much care and attention into it, really. Looking back at the instructions after I built it, I did manage to get them in the right place. But as I said, that was because the instructions are not really clear, and the location points are very small as well. These are very small parts. The next stage is to make up the front housing. There is a couple of little brackets to go on here. These are not photo etched, they're all plastic. The location points are fairly self-explanatory when you build it. Once you built this section, make sure it's thoroughly dry before you move on to the next one, because this is going to take a lot of weight at the gun. So once that's done, then I can place in the main section, and the bit I've just placed in there, that's all the bits that are going to be encased inside the turret. And the contact point and the location points for these are not huge. So you have this big mechanism here with a very small contact point, so it can be quite difficult to fit. Once it was dried, and give everything a coat of Revit Colour 65 bronze green. And then it's back to the containers. After I checked to fit to see how they would sit on the tank, it's time to bend the brackets for them. And again, that was just with my tweezers, bend it into position. Here I used some PVA glue just to attach them, and as you can see there, they just push on. Now you may have noticed that the side brackets that I initially put off, I've taken them off now. Those are the ones I said I couldn't get to fit. Now, if they were in place, I wouldn't have been able to fit these containers. So I think it's better to have the containers on than the bracket. So that's what I did. There's also a machine gun to fit, and I painted the gun in Humbrol's 53 gun metal. If you're having this closed up, you only get to see the barrel. So it's up to the builder whether you want to paint the whole thing or not. I'm now using the main colour, Revit Colour 65 bronze green. That's most of the main structure on the hull done now. So everything is starting to come together, and I'm putting on the second coat. So it's back to the turret, and I'm placing the gun inside the turret. Now, if you want this to have free movement, there's a couple of brackets you have to make up. They're only hinge brackets, there's no great drama. I placed the first part in with the gun. The gun's not cemented in, obviously, because I want the movement, and then I simply placed the next one in on the opposite side. And while I've done that, I'm switched here to the outer casing of the main howitzer gun. There's some very small parts that go on here. There's no way my camera will pick it up. These are for various levers and springs that go on. Now that the gun's dry, I can put the two halves of the turret together. This was a nice simple fit. It fit beautifully. There was no issues whatsoever. I did run into a little bit of difficulty with the outer casing of the howitzer though. I found this very difficult to assemble and fit. There's this back plate that you see me placing on here now. The side supports were assembled first. That was simple enough, but getting this piece attached to the main gun was rather difficult. It's mainly because of its location and the surface area that it's got to bond to. It's not very large, and you have to balance it just right for it to fit in. Once that was dried, I was able then to put on the main casing. Now, I'm not sure whether I got this right or not. There appears to be a massive gap at the top. Now, I know this is meant to swing up when it's not in use, so I thought possibly that's why. But the way it's illustrated in the instructions and the way it's meant to swing up, I couldn't see why the gap would be there. It should be at the bottom. But after a careful study and look at the instructions and things, it just didn't look right to me. Now there's meant to be a tiny little spring that goes on here to flip it up, but I've lost that. I don't know. I think the Carpet Monster got that one, so I just carried on and decided to have it as one solid unit, and started placing on the side brackets and armaments. This little part here I'm putting on encases the machine gun barrel. So again, if this thing is meant to flip up, the machine gun should be retractable, but it's not, so it wouldn't flip up anyway. So I don't know whether it was me or it was the kit design, but it just all felt very wrong. I looked at a lot of photos, the instructions, and I couldn't see why this gap would be here. So in the end, I decided just to fill the gap with a bit of sprue glue. Again, I'm not 100% sure if this is actually correct or not, but the gap just didn't look right to me at all. Maybe I just didn't place it on properly. I have no idea, but I really struggled with this part. So, as I say, I filled it up and just thought, well, that'll have to do. And this is where I'll leave part 6. This fill is going to take quite some time to dry because I put a lot in it, so it's a good place to stop. So if you haven't done it already, why don't you check out the channel for my other builds? If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel as well, please. And if you do so, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build, but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.